Hey y'all, welcome to Culture Cult. My name is Marie. I am the host of the show. If you're a fan, if you're a longtime listener, hell yeah. Thank you for always keep coming back for a good time. If you're new to the show and you somehow found me, so essentially the show is about learning about everyone's culture in the world because everyone's culture deserves to be learned about. And it's about, just being okay with being ignorant, but wanting to learn more about the world. And so therefore, I tell really, really weird history stories from every country in the world with the goal to learn about every country. So we have those episodes. We have weird world news stories if you want to escape the terrible news and learn about weird news. And then we have travel stories, which is this episode. So that's when I have a guest come on and tell their best travel story. Well, this episode's very, very special to me. Very special because the guest that I have on today truly, without a doubt, changed my life. Like straight up changed my life. So I'm going to take a second and explain to you why she changed my life. And I have to go back probably a year or so. I'm not going to tell you my whole life, but just I need to go back a little bit. So I used to live in LA. And LA was I love LA, y'all. That is my home emotionally. But fiscally, not my home. It is a very hard place to live. I worked so many jobs. I just couldn't get it. I wanted to travel, but I couldn't even afford to breathe in LA. How could I even travel? Eventually, a homeless man broke into my home, forcing me to leave LA. I moved to Nashville with my best friend, and I spent 6 months working my fucking ass off trying to build my business and travel. And I am now traveling full-time as a digital nomad with my own business. And it all is because I found this woman named Christa Romano and her program, which was how to become a digital nomad before summer. And she did not just teach me how to become a digital nomad, which is a very, hot thing to do nowadays, but she really taught me a lot of the shadow work that I was needing to deal with, which was like having insecurity with money beliefs, not really even believing in myself, just a lot of work. And I ended up paying for her program when I had, not exaggerating when I say this, I was the brokest I had ever been in my life. I had exactly the amount for her program and maybe some change. And I really wanted to change my life. So I paid for her program and I got all my money back, by the way, by May. And I started it in February. This woman genuinely has changed my life. I went to Europe this summer. I swam in the French Mediterranean Sea. I went to Budapest and partied my ass off. And I got to get paid and work at the same time because I got to fix my money beliefs and what I believe in myself. And I learned what a digital nomad was. And because I met Christa and she really changed my life. So I'm having her come on to today's episode to really talk about what a digital nomad is, but also you don't have to stay in your shitty restaurant job, or you don't have to stay in that corporate job that sucks your fucking soul. If you want to travel, there's actually a way. So that is who I have on today. There's a lot of emotion behind the person I have on today. But if you are just wanting to hear her travel story, you should definitely stick around for that too. So this woman, at the same time, she went viral a few years, probably say 10 years ago, because she ruined a Indian ceremony and fell into the Ganges River and went viral. And also, she tells another story about how she went to Laos and made the very, very deadly mistake all travelers know not to do. So if you are here to really hear about how you can change your life and you're really tired of the position that you're in, the job that you're in, and you actually really want to travel, I say stick around for the first part of the episode. It really is super impactful to hear that there's a different kind of life that you can have. If you're like, I love my corporate job, I love bussing dishes at my restaurant, do it. Fuck yeah. And just jump to the end of the episode and you can hear her insane travel story. But I won't keep you to it. It's been 5 minutes of me talking straight, but I just really wanted to tell you how big this episode is for me and how important it is for me to share with y'all our guest today, Christa Romano. So my podcast is not, for any listeners out there, they're not digital nomads. That's not I don't know who they are actually, but they are definitely interested in travel. And like, I obviously been telling them about my journey and your coaching program and hinting at what digital nomads is, but can you just put it in your own words and just like kind of break it down?
Sure. Okay, cool. I love it. I love when people don't know what being a digital nomad is
Yeah,
because I'm like, just you wait. This is going to blow
exactly.
your mind. So, a digital nomad is someone simply who makes their full-time income from their laptop. And because their laptop is not rooted in an office space or connected to any specific town or city or country, they can take that laptop and put it anywhere in the world. So, some people are digital nomads where they live in one place for the entire year. But if they decide they want to take a trip literally tomorrow and have that trip be a month and then stay for an extra month, they can. Or other people live out of their suitcase full time and literally don't have a home and just make different Airbnbs their home. And they might stay for 2 weeks in one place and then 6 months in another place. So for me, I've been making my full-time income online for the past 10 years and I've been every kind of digital nomad. So now I'm kind of this like hybrid person who I do live in Indonesia and this is where I am, but also I kind of still travel for like 6 months of the year, like maybe
Yeah.
three 2-month trips.
Yeah. I just think the big hit on it is like, and you talk a lot about on your podcast, but it's really just freedom. It's like you literally create whatever life you want. If you want to just like sit in Montana and like do nothing, you can. If you want to travel full time, you can. It doesn't matter because it's just like you create your own life. But I think the big thing is with your coaching program, you're not teaching someone how to find a remote job, which you can teach them that, but you're really teaching them like how to create their own life in their own hands with their own business skills. And
Yeah.
that's the big part. Cause there's lots of people that can just tell you how to like, like just figure out Canva and then you'll just make $1 million online. It's like, that's not true. Like, sorry, that's so rare and weird. But I just think the biggest thing to hit home is like freedom. And that's all I crave. And I think a lot of people crave that. And I want to go back to like a time where you did not have freedom. Like this was not always your life. Weren't born a little digital nomad baby. Like, can you go back to like that time where you're like, I feel so fucking stuck and I don't know what to do?
Oh my gosh, I have so many of those moments. So I always really, really wanted to travel. I was like very motivated to be a traveler when I was really young. But then when I graduated from college, I was like, well, how am I going to travel now that I don't have winter breaks and summer breaks? So I just surrendered to only being able to travel when I had vacation time. And I just thought, okay, like that's just what people do. If they want to travel,
Mm-hmm.
they go on vacation. End of story. So I took a vacation to Greece and I took 12 days off of work. That's basically like 2 full work weeks,
And I'm sure
right?
you really worked hard to like angle it like that too.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You got to like position it so that it's a long line with a long weekend and the whole thing. So for me, this was like a really, really long trip. And I remember I was in Greece and I was sitting next to this couple and I think they were from New Zealand or something. And then they were like, "Oh, what are you doing here? How long are you here?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's like a 15-day trip or whatever it was." And they were like, 15 days. They were literally horrified, like disgusted, appalled. I was like, whoa, like, why? What is this strong reaction? They were like, you came all the way from the United States to take a trip that's not even a month long. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I couldn't even take a month off if I wanted to. Like, and that would be surrendering Christmas and trips home. And it would be meaning I can't go anywhere else over. Like, what are you talking about? And so basically I left that encounter being just feeling really hurt, like feeling kind of like a victim. Like, what the heck? Like, apparently other people are able to travel for longer than this, and I don't understand. And I was just like, not computing. So yeah, that was just a moment where I think I realized, like, oh, there are other people in the world that think that this scenario just isn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And what would my life be like if I decided that this wasn't good enough? And so I feel like that was my first light bulb moment where I just started searching for, like, maybe there's another way, because I think that what a lot of people experience in terms of the way that they relate to their vacation time is they're just like, yeah, this is how it is. So they
Mm-hmm.
don't feel trapped. They just feel like they're
This is just how it
living.
is.
It's just how it is. It's like they don't even question it. They don't question
Yeah.
the systems. So Yeah. Yeah, that's my story.
Yeah. And I feel like that's so many people out there. They're like, no, 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 you don't understand. Like, I squeezed it with this like long weekend. And if I take any more off, like, I can't have sick days. Like,
Yes.
and that's even if you have a, I mean, I'm a restaurant girl. No, like, there's no PTO. It's like, I will not have money when I go off. Like, so it's not even just like the corporate trap. It's like just with restaurants, you truly can't go anywhere. You have to go into the restaurant. So I know you did eventually find an online job. How did that happen? Because that's a dream for most people. Like I'm telling you, I could not find an online job for years.
Yeah.
How the hell did you find the online job? First of all.
So I feel like it is more relevant to kind of talk about my whole career
Yeah.
journey as a whole, because
Yeah.
the online job, like by the time I got an online job, I was a specialist in marketing.
Yeah.
I had a lot of experience. So then it was just a matter of like, I applied for a job, it happened to be remote, and then I got it because I was the best candidate for it. So when I say like, what was my career as a whole, I really sympathize with this experience of just like not knowing what to do and having this shiny object syndrome of being like, I really want to have this lifestyle, this outcome, but I just don't know what my career should be. So I knew that I wanted to travel, like again, since I was really, really young. So then I thought, okay, well, I should work in the travel industry. So I was just relentless about looking for jobs in the travel industry. And that didn't really get me very far because the travel industry is like, it was one of the biggest industries on the planet. So there's so many different things that you can do within that. I feel like I was just throwing spaghetti at a wall, like
Yes.
so much. But I did end up getting an internship when I was in college at a online travel publication. And so basically I like was like, okay, I have a little bit of experience writing. Okay, maybe I can leverage that and get a job where writing is the main thing. And that's how I ended up moving into marketing. But then I was still like committed to this travel industry thing. So then I took that and then I started working in public relations. Actually
Yeah. No.
hated working in PR so much. It was like, it's very catty, whatever. I don't want to judge. It's great for some people. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Um, so then I was like, okay, fuck this. I need to do something completely different. I applied to work on a cruise ship. Didn't get the job. I what else did I try to do? Oh, I thought about going back to school. Never finished my application. I decided to move to Thailand to be an English teacher. And that was really the thing that I was like, okay, like I don't care about teaching English. What I
Mhm.
care about is traveling.
Yes.
So, and then I ended up getting an office job in marketing, but in Thailand. And spent 2 years in Thailand working at that job. And that's when I was able to write this like really cool cover letter
Mhm.
about all my different experiences. And that's what ultimately ended up helping me get my first fully remote job. And then because I was remote, I started posting all about my digital nomad life, became also a content creator on the side. And then eventually I launched my career in coaching and now I like can't think about doing anything else. Like I've found it.
Yeah.
Took me 10 years, but here I am.
And I love that though. I really like that you're transparent about that because I think a lot of people get the imposter syndrome or the comparison of just like, oh my God, like all I see on Instagram is all these people like just traveling all the time. And they don't know that it took you 10 years. They don't know that. And I mean, I'm sure maybe you're pretty transparent on your social media, but a lot of people aren't saying that. And they don't, no one ever says the actual struggles. But that's why I liked your course because it just condensed any questions I had or any it just like made it into a light speed. It was called Digital Nomad by Summer, and you weren't fucking kidding. Like I was actually Digital Nomad by Spring, low key.
Yeah.
Like so, I think like if you are feeling lost, you should invest. And I invested when I didn't have any fucking money at all.
Thank you so
I
much.
actually no,
Thank you.
like
Thank
I
you so
had
much
no,
for
I
saying.
actually went back today and looked at my like my yearly reports and I was like, holy fuck, I spent every inch of my money on your program and I got it back immediately around in May.
Yes,
And
girl, you worked for it.
I worked
So
my fucking ass
that's
off.
another thing that I feel like I'm a little bit painfully transparent about too. I'm like, if you come into this program, you better be
Go
ready to
fucking
work
work
because
for it.
I am not going to be tolerating people telling me that that they like didn't know that it. I was like, no. If you're going to invest, you invest so that you can make more money afterwards. It's
Exactly.
not, you're not paying anybody to do it for you. Like you're paying someone to show you how you could do it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And I would just say, like, for anyone out there who's like, oh, I just don't know about like course or anything, I would say that one advice is to niche down. Like, you literally were like, I'm going to be the best at marketing. And you did. And that's how you got your online job. So I think that's what I also was struggling. I was just applying for any kind of thing online. And I'll just become part of the masses of resumes. So I just wanted to like touch on that. Just when people are looking at Instagram and they're like, how the fuck are they doing this? There's a lot of hard work that's not said. So I
Mhm.
just definitely wanted to state that. But like, what was a time where you just finally felt all the relief in the world? You're like, this is my life. What was that moment for you?
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm like full body goosebumps right now. So, wow. Huge moment was landing my first client. I charged my first client ever $2,000. And I was in my guest house room and I was like on the phone with her. It wasn't a video call, which was nice because I was literally like muting the phone and like jumping up and down. She was like, how do
Yes.
I pay you? Yeah. Yeah, because at that point, like I had a remote job and I was making $4,000 a month, which is like a decent salary. And literally, this one person was gonna just hand me half of that.
Mm.
And the thing that I was offering her was like 4 hours a month, basically, like 1 hour call per week. Um,
Wow. What?
so I was just like mind blown because I was working with a coach at the time and she was just like egging me on, like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And the whole time you're like doubting, you're like, I don't know. Is this real? Can I really do this? And then you
Hmm.
have that moment where like the breakthrough happens. And it's just like, I feel like as I say the word breakthrough, I literally mean it like physically. It's like reality shatters. And then all of a sudden there's a new like HD picture behind whatever this like stained glass was. And that was a really big moment for me.
I think
That's
that's so true. And I just think for like everyone out there, just shows you think your world is this small until something like that gets shattered and you're like, holy fuck. With this whole digital nomad life and just like just starting your own business, it's that constant moment of like your universe can get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you don't have to be stuck, you know?
yeah, it's like every time we grow, I imagine like rungs on the ladder, right? So if you were on rung one, now you're going to rung two. You have to literally like break that
Yeah.
in order to get to rung three. So there's going to be resistance and it's hard and you're going to have to use your muscles and you might try and try and try and you might fail, but then eventually you will break through. And then you're gonna only float up as high as the next rung, and then you got to do it again. So it's
Yeah.
just a constant up leveling experience, and the resistance is normal, but we can we can shift and we can grow.
Yeah.
So
Like
I'm
our
so
identity
happy for
can change. You're not attached to that situation.
you.
And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I could geek out on this shit all day because like, and I wish we could just have like just a whole podcast about this because it's truly fascinating, like that your mind can just expand like that. Once you actually decide that you want something, you're going to push past that uncomfortability. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's insane. I have so many business questions. I'll try to like narrow it down because I want to get into the travel stuff too. But you've had so many clients.
Okay.
Which of your clients really moved you? Really moved you?
Oh, so many. Monique, oh my God. I ended up living with one of my clients because she
Yes.
came to Bali and I needed someone to watch my dog, and it just ended up working out that way. And all my clients are so fucking cool. Like, I really feel so proud of my marketing for attracting people that I just would
Yes.
be friends with anyway. But yeah, I'm going to talk about Monique because she's just my girl now. But okay, she was listening to my podcast for over a year. And I also really feel like the universe just sends me people when they need it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she was like messaging me being like, "Hey, I think I want to be a digital nomad, but like I don't know." And then she would tell me that she already is freelancing. And I'm like, "Girl, this is going to be so easy for you. Like you have literally everything that you could possibly need." And just I was like coaching her through the DMs for a really long time. And she just kept having all this resistance. And then we started working together. And so some people come into my program and they have no business experience and they just like don't really have much of a foundation, which is fine. Lots of those clients have gotten results too. And then there are other people that do have the experience. Actually, you were one of those people too, because you already had your editing skills and you actually were freelancing too. So Monique was in the same situation. And so that's when I know that it's actually more of a mindset shift that needs to happen. It's not so much a matter of just learning skills. And so just, yeah, like these conversations about like, who have you thought that you are? What negative experiences have you completely internalized? And for her, like she had a couple of negative experiences at her previous employer, which really hurt her self-confidence. And she also has some kind of like crazy things with just like some stories in her past about her family's relationship to money. And just like seeing the way that she went from being like, I don't know if I can do it. And like, I'm so scared to like do this program. She is literally in her villain era right now. Oh my God. It's like amazing. She's already planning all these trips. She just spent 5 months in Bali. She did the total glow up. She's making more money than ever. She is like stepping into a higher level, like position now. Like she was doing social media management. And now she's moving into creative direction. And she's just like bossing up so much and having so much fun. And she's like, oh, I'm like gushing. I love watching transformations like that. It's life-changing for everybody.
No, it really is. And actually, she is now working with one of my clients as their social media manager. She's super fucking talented. Like,
yeah,
when people see her work, they're like, who is that? I'm like, no, she's not available. Like she's not. No, she isn't. Like she's booked. Yeah. She's an amazing example. And I actually work with her. And like, that's the big thing is the people you're getting to be connected with. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. I was just thinking that too. The people that come into the program and they're like, I'm committing to this. And so I know what you said, how you were like, oh yeah, I literally spent like every dime that I had on this program. That is such an element of people that go for it, right? Because they're like, I cannot afford to mess this up. If I commit to this, I'm going 110% no matter what. So like those people in the program are just like, I feel like I don't know what to say. They're just the creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. And before we get into like our travel story, I did have one question about like the digital nomad life. So again, can you give us the actual true highlights of being a digital nomad? And like, what are realities like these social media people aren't showing?
Okay. So a lot of people that are just saying like, become an influencer, probably aren't making a ton of money. I know a lot of people that have like 100,000+ followers and they're just getting by with hotel deals. Like it looks really glamorous. So yeah, I think that's one thing is like people's incomes don't necessarily match their lifestyles. Also, I think it's hard to know how much money someone's making, and just because they're not like looking like they have a super glamorous life, it doesn't mean that they're not doing really well too. Like, don't forget, like people want to be saving for retirement, and so I would say that something that's important to think about, like as a digital nomad, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, is you are going to be responsible for taking care of that shit for yourself, which I'm not saying is easy. I'm super avoidant with things like my taxes and health insurance and all that. So for me, like that's actually probably my biggest challenge of working on my own, but it's not impossible. I mean, I feel like if I can do it, I hope my accountant's not listening. He's probably like, you are literally the worst. Reply to my email.
He's like, you have time to go on a podcast, huh?
Seriously. Yeah. So there's that. And then I don't know. I mean, people are like, what are the downsides? But I think it really just depends on what your lifestyle is. And to me, like, there don't have to be downsides because the whole point is that you're creating the life the way that you want it. So I think when I was living out of my suitcase full time, I was like, Well, I guess a downside is that I don't have a closet and I can't travel with more than 3 pairs of shoes. But at the same time, that's not a downside to me because like I'm living my absolute best life. So like
Yeah.
with shoes, like is that really the thing? So yeah, I would say the upsides are just like just take a second, imagine what would be the dream? Like just what would be amazing?
Yeah.
That's the upside. You can just make your life amazing. It just
Literally.
can make it amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree because you have the freedom. You're not like, you don't have to ask a boss. You don't have to like live somewhere specific, you know? I would just say, like, if you are starting your own business, I think you better be passionate about it. Like, you
Yes.
can't, because like today I was doing my taxes and I was like, why is this fun? I was like, because it's my fucking business. If I was doing it for someone else, I would literally not like this, you know? And I'm just realizing like having your business is so fun. And I think you have to have that mentality. And I think if you just want to have that paycheck come in and you're okay with the 2 weeks out of the year, then you don't need to push yourself to be a business person. So that's what I would say is like it's not a downside. It's just like you need to put in the fucking work and you're gonna have to deal with the taxes and the 401k, but like you just learn it and then you get to go back to like living your best life. It's really literally however you want it. Like I'm realizing, okay, I actually want a community and I actually would love an apartment and I could travel. You have like 6 months out of the year, but I go back to a community. So now I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, now I'm gonna find that shit.
Yeah.
So
Do you have any communities in mind that you want to join?
I'm such a little baby right now. I don't know any parts of the world. Um, I mean, looking at Mexico because I found some really nice co-living spaces, but I want to have
Yeah.
an apartment. How the hell? How are you staying in Bali for so long? Because it says you can only stay for 2 months and you have to renew the visa over and over.
So I'm able to stay in Bali because I have a resident visa, which
Mhm.
was easy to get. I just had to pay for it. But
Okay.
actually, Indonesia happens to be one of the easiest places to stay long term because you can show up at the airport, immediately get a 2 month quote visa on arrival, which I don't know how much it costs. It's like under $50. So you can stay for 2 months and then you can extend it for another 2 months, I think, or 1 month. And then you can fly to Singapore for 3 hours and then come back and then get another 3 months. So if you want to go on a little trip like outside of the country anyway during your 6 month stay, then
Hmm.
boom. Or you can pay a little bit extra for a business visa and then and getting a business visa doesn't mean that you have to do business. It's just what they call it. So yeah, Indonesia is easy, but there's a lot of countries like I know Mexico is pretty easy. Colombia is pretty easy to stay for a long time. Colombia is a great. Have you been to Colombia?
No, I haven't.
Love, love, love,
Really?
love. Yeah. If I weren't such a beach girl, I would totally relocate there for sure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying
Check.
to hang out like in nature. So that's why I was like looking at Oaxaca. But yeah, I'm looking for a community and I found something called coliving.com where you can like pretty much like pay rent and like live with a bunch of people and like you go on like surf classes together or music classes or whatever you want. And like you cook
Mhm.
family dinners and stuff like that. So that's what I'm kind of transitioning into. Is to
Yeah, there's so many options of ways to find community as a nomad, but I met all these people through communities like the Nomad Cruise, which is 2 times per year. There's one coming up in December,
Mhm.
and the Wi-Fi Tribe. But then there's also stationary co-living houses. Like I stayed in one in Arctic Norway. It was so nice. Like we had family dinners together every single night and you'd work for 5 hours during the day and then it'd be like,
Mhm.
oh, does somebody want to go on a sunset hike? That was like such a magical time. Met so many really nice people. Yeah, just lots and lots and lots of options.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm excited for next year. I'm going to do so much more community stuff because, yeah, you can just like literally, the door's just wide open. Like it's literally
Yeah.
wide open. Once you like have this lifestyle, it's actually like insane. Like
I know. It's almost overwhelming at first, isn't it? Because you're like,
I can
it's
go
like
anywhere.
it's like you're a kid in the candy shop and you're like,
That's
ah,
how I
like
feel right
stuffing your
now.
mouth.
So I'm right now, it's Mexico because that's been on my dream list for a long time. So I'm like, I should
Yeah.
actually follow through with that. But I did want to get into our story today, and I need you to tell the Ganges River story. I just told my friend, and she was like, "Tell her to tell that story."
Oh my God, I know. It is my
It's the
best
best.
travel story.
I was dying when I was editing it. I was editing it like, and I was dying out loud. I was like, "What?" So I want you to come on and tell like I really want to hear your Burning Man story. Like next time you can come on, we can do like more of the story stuff, but like just one for this time, the Ganges
Okay.
one.
this story is my best travel story. It's also my most embarrassing story. And it's just my best story in general, full stop. It's just like a ridiculous, ridiculous story. Okay, so the story begins in 2015. I am backpacking through India with my friend Stacy, little blonde Stacy from South Africa. So little blonde girls walking around through India, having no fucking idea what we're doing. Because we have no idea what we're doing, we end up in this town called Rishikesh, which someone sold it to us as being this like chill. It was not chill. Nowhere in India is chill, but like Rishikesh is definitely not chill. And the thing about Rishikesh, one of the reasons why people go there is because it's like the edge of the Himalayas, and there's a huge river that rushes through it, the Ganges, which is the holiest, quote, river in the world. And the reason why it's the holiest river in the world is because what the Hindus believe is that if the person dies and then their body makes its way to the Ganges within 24 hours, that soul has a higher chance of reaching nirvana.
Okay.
So basically the thing to know about the Ganges River is that everybody's throwing dead bodies in it. That's the thing to know about the river. Okay, so back to Rishikesh, Stacy and I are wandering around and we're just like, this place is crazy. Oh my God, there's no other tourists in the town. What do we do with our lives? And we meet this one other guy, Martin. We're convinced there's 3 tourists in the town, us and Martin. And he's like, I've been traveling around India for 6 months. Like, one of the best things that you can do is go to the puja ceremony. And we're like, what's the puja ceremony? And he's like, no time to talk, gotta go. So we're like, okay, well, we don't know what that is, but sure. He says it's at the temple by the river at sundown. So we make our way there. We get a little bit lost, so we show up late. By the time we get to this temple, the ceremony, the puja ceremony is underway. Okay, so just taking a step back visually to paint the picture.
Yes.
Okay, there's this absolutely huge river. Like, think of the biggest river you've ever seen in your life and then make it bigger. That's the Ganges River. It's also coming from the Himalayas, so it's rushing. And there's this temple that's like 6 stories high. It's bright orange. It's dripping in all these white ornate details. Yeah. And there's these huge semicircular stairs going from the temple leading down to the water. And on the stairs are thousands of Hindu people dressed in their colorful saris, banging gongs, like waving around incense, praying, chanting. There's sounds going. It's just like a very overwhelming, overly stimulating environment. So at first we're like, whoa. And then I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, we're in India. And I have my nice fancy camera hanging around my neck. And I'm like, this is so cool. So we're first standing at the edge of the crowd. And then, I start taking a picture of these hands holding a flower, and then these people, and then this site. And I'm just moving my way through the crowd, taking all the pictures. And then I stop and I realize I've lost Stacy. And oh my God, I'm probably being so obnoxious. I'm like clearly foreign person. Yes. I don't actually even know what this ceremony is about. It could have been a funeral for all I know. I literally have no idea. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, wait, I feel really embarrassed. Just Christa, put the camera down, be a good tourist, and observe. So that's what I do. So I'm looking around and I'm like, what's happening here? And what I think I see, these are the clues. These are the things that I see happening. Okay, what I see is people are holding this little flower offering. It's like on a banana leaf with some flowers and a lit candle. And they're kind of like waving it in the little semicircular motion in front of their bodies, and then they're passing it to the person next to them. So I'm watching for a while and I'm like, okay, I got this. And then somebody passes me the flower thing, and I kind of like sheepishly like do this little like wave it. And then I try to pass it to the person next to me, and they just look at me and then carry on with their lives. And I'm like, okay, I thought they were supposed to take it, but they didn't. So I'm trying to pass this little thing with the candle on it to other people, and nobody's accepting it from me. So I'm like, okay, this is awkward. What are they doing with the candle things? And I see they're being passed down to the river and floating them down the river. So I'm like, okay, I really don't want to go near the dead body river, but when in India, let's just do it. Okay. I was like, but I can't get my full feet wet because I just got a tattoo on my ankle. So I'll just get my toes wet and I'll just really like go at the very, very edge of the water. So I go down to the bottom step and I take the little flower thing and I put it just at the edge of the river and I watch it and it floats out like 6 inches and then it just like sticks back to the stair next to me. So I'm standing there and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to be disrespectful. Like I obviously did it wrong. And like I just have to put it a little bit deeper into the river to float it down. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to take a step deeper into the river, but I'm on the bottom step. So I'm like, it's a platform. The water is murky, but I am confident that if I take a step, that's all that I need to do. So anyway, I take a step into the river and I am not on the bottom step at all. I literally, it's like as if you just forgot that there were more stairs and you just literally walked into air and fucking face planted, fell into the Ganges River, this rushing river, freezing cold next to the Himalayas with my camera, my purse with my passport in it, like everything that I needed for that trip was in my bag. I am literally blacking out. I'm so scared that I'm gonna drink the water, get cholera, die. My tattoo's gonna get infected. I'm gonna drown. Like my body was like, like freaking out. Don't remember what happened next. Actually, I like literally don't remember what happened next.
Yeah, you straight up blacked out. Like your body, that's it.
I don't know how. The next thing that I remember is I'm standing on the steps, soaking wet, being like, oh my God, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. And then I see the crowds part ways and Stacy is there and she's like, why are you so wet? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm really scared. I fucked up my camera. I fucked up my phone. And she's like, I don't know what to do either. This is so crazy. Like, let's just sit down and regroup and like decide what to do next. So I'm like looking at my fucked phone. My passport is disgusting. I'm like, do I go take a shower? Do I go get my phone dried? Do I go to the hospital? Like, what do I do? Oh and I'm laughing, I'm crying. And I'm like, no one is ever going to believe how ridiculous this setting was. Like, this was easily the most ridiculous thing that I've ever experienced. And like, nobody's gonna understand like how bad it was.
No one's gonna believe this happened.
So we're just like taking it all in. The ceremony ends and the thousands of Indian people are walking past me, kind of like looking at me, being like, okay, she really got involved. Eventually, we realize there's one other tourist in the town, this fourth person, this French girl. And she walks by and she's like, oh, hey, you're that girl that fell in the river. And I'm like, yeah, thanks for noticing. Like, don't have time for you to make fun of me. And she's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. But I need you to know that I was filming the ceremony and I caught the whole thing on camera.
That's so lucky. That is so lucky.
I know. So she shows me the video. It's only 8 seconds long. It is literally perfectly framed. Like it couldn't be, it's like so ridiculous. You see the ceremony, see the stairs, you see all the people, and you're watching it and it's like 1 second, 2 second, innocuous, don't know. And then blonde girl just like barrels through the crowd, splashes in the water right in the center of the frame, and then the video ends. And like that's
and like, that's crazy though, because I've seen the video. It's literally these exact like 8 seconds. Like she caught it perfectly. Ow.
It was craziest thing ever. So for the listeners, pause this podcast, go onto YouTube and just Google blonde girl falls into Ganges River. That's me.
Literally, that's all you have to type in. And it's the first video. Like it's the very first video.
Yeah. At least I have an amazing story and I'll have that forever. So it's okay. My phone got destroyed. My passport was like disgusting, but it's kind of a souvenir. And like,
and you didn't get sick. No,
I didn't get sick. It was fine. Tattoo was fine. Yeah. I mean, my camera was fucked. My phone was fucked. Like, So like when I was like, oh my God, this video is amazing. At least I have a good travel story. I put it on Facebook and then linked it to Instagram, went to bed, woke up the next day. It had 4,000 views on it. And everybody I had ever met in my life was coming out of the woodwork being like, this is amazing. Oh my God, put this on Reddit, put it on Reddit. So my friend, I'm like, I don't know what Reddit is, whatever. So my friend puts it on Reddit. She titles it, tries to join Hindu ceremony, does not go as planned. And from there, it ended up on the front page of 9gag, Bro Bible, Ellen Tube, Moist Buddha, like all
Moist
of the
Buddha.
yeah, like on literally all of them. And so that happened. And then later that year, it ended up on BuzzFeed's list of the 22 or 23 most painfully awkward things that happened in 2015.
That is
That's
like,
me. That's your
that
girl.
is so crazy. That is, I just can't believe it just like blew up like that. It just fucking
I
blew up
know.
like that.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh God, that is so, I just love that story. I do want to hear your Laos story too.
So basically, there's this place in Laos, which is the country just north of Thailand. So I was backpacking through there, and there's this place called Vang Vieng,
Oh yeah.
which is the cutest little town in the mountains, and just like so many drunk backpackers. So this was in 2013 at the time. So I don't know what it's like now. I hope that they've put some more regulations on it. But basically, there's this river. Oh my God, all my stories involve a river.
No, for real.
There's this river where you can rent a tube and you float down the river, and it's like sunny and you're with your friends, your backpacker friends, your hostel friends, and then you're floating down the river, and then splash, this water bottle filled with rocks lands next to you, and it's got a little string attached to it. So you pull yourself up by the little string, and then you climb up to the banks of the river, and then there's this like garden bar, like
So cool.
weird backpackery bar in a field where they're serving you whiskey shots in bottle caps. And yeah. So anyway, you basically hang out there for as long as you want. And then once you've had a few drinks, you get back in the tube, float down the river a little bit more, and then splash, pull yourself up to the next bar. And then there's like sprinklers everywhere, drink a little bit, get back in the thing, splash. Oh, now you're in the hammocks, and there's like 15 hammocks, and everybody's hanging out and like just having, literally, this was one of the most fun days I've ever had. It was
This is
just
like
like
a
so wild,
dream day
so
for me.
magical. It was so fun. Yes, like 10 out of 10. So good. And then there was a party that night, and like this party in a clearing in the jungle where there was a DJ and everybody was like wearing crazy outfits. And I was just like, where am I? Like, I love my life. This is so wild. So now it's 4 a.m. and I get back to the guest house, and I am really drunk. I'm so tired. I cannot wait to go to bed. And then I realized that there's no water in my room. And I'm like, I am
Oh,
going to be so hungover tomorrow. Like, this is bad.
oh,
So I go downstairs, I like go out to the street, nothing is open, nobody's around. And I'm
oh,
like,
God.
I'm gonna die if I don't have any water. Like, I'm so thirsty. So I go back to my room and I'm like, fuck, I'm just gonna feel so bad tomorrow. Brushing my teeth. I always use sink water to brush my teeth. Like, as long as you spit and don't swallow
Yeah.
it, like it's fine. I've done that in every single country I've ever been in. But this one time in Laos, drunk little Christa is
Oh,
like,
shit.
wow, the water feels so good. I'm so
Swallow.
thirsty. Okay, maybe just one
No, you
splash.
did not.
So I literally took one little
No.
handful of water and I swallowed it.
No.
I did. I did that. I did that. When I tell you that I got zero sleep that night because I was literally clutching the toilet, so sick, like so sick. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't need to go into the details. I
No,
was
I
just,
know. I can see it.
it was devastatingly ill. Luckily I was like sharing the guest house room with a friend. So when she came back at like 7 a.m. She was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." So she like went and just like got me a lot of liquids the next day and like nursed me back to health basically. And it was just like a 24-hour like
Oh.
horrible experience. But yeah, anyway, that's the time I got water poisoning in Laos, and I'm really lucky that it wasn't worse. I'm glad that
Yeah,
I
for
didn't have
real.
water. Yeah. Ugh.
Also,
That's
just like on top of that, like first of all, day drinking in the sun is already like you're asking for a hangover. Then
yeah.
you like go to more bars. Then you go party at a fucking like nightclub in the jungle. And then you
Yeah.
like drink contaminated water. Like I just feel like that your face.
Oh
Your body was
my
like,
God.
stop. Like
I
stop.
know.
Like they
Please
will
leave
put
me
you out.
alone. Yeah.
That
Oh my
sounds like
God.
the worst kind of experience. Like I just, oh my God. I'm so sorry. But also like you had a great fucking time before
I
that.
had such a fun night. I mean, all in all, like when I look back on it, I was like, that was still one of the best days of my backpacker like experience.
Yeah.
It's like Southeast Asia just makes me laugh because sometimes you see these things and you're like, that would literally never fly in America, or like lawsuits would be happening within moments. And
No,
but
like
it's just
all the
like
like laughing
part of
balloons
it.
you can get at the bar.
I know, what is that?
Like
Ridiculous.
everyone's fucked up on laughing
Yeah.
balloons, including myself when I was there. I refused it for a while, and then I saw everyone was having fun, and I was like, okay, fine. And then I was like, this shit is amazing. And then but then we did meet these girls, this couple, and this girl, she kept having seizures because she was like doing it way too much. So
Fuck.
that's what I'm saying. Like Asia, Southeast Asia is a legit like Wild West show. Like it's like anything can and will happen. So definitely go to Southeast Asia and like have a fucking incredible time. It's the best. Well, so before we get into like just like repping you up and everything, I did have one question. So like I know you, a lot of people know you. People don't know you, but I will say that they know that you are a coach, you're a backpacker, you're a full-time traveler, you're so many things. What is something people don't really know about you, or maybe some upside of yourself you want to explore?
Oh, what a nice question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, hmm. I'm in a new phase of my life now. Like when I just tell these stories, both which are from like so long ago when I was just young and like just wanted to party and have fun. I am maturing, of course, and I'm like thinking about having babies and
Oh,
like,
really?
settling down, and not anytime soon, but like I
Yeah.
want to be a mom. And just that I feel really, really committed to one day when I have kids being such a loving mother, but also one that like lets my kids truly be authentically themselves, whatever that looks like. So I feel excited that like whatever the next phase, next chapter of my life will be when I'm more of a family person, that I'm still doing some kind of alternative lifestyle, but like
Mm-hmm.
exploring what that looks like with kids. So
Yeah.
yeah, feeling excited to just continue being a pioneer of different kind of lifestyles that are possible. But it's not because I'm always partying.
No, for real.
Do still love a good party, but I
Yeah,
can't.
no, I
Yeah.
really, really love that. I met this woman while I was in France. We were at the beach and I saw these like two kids. They were cracking me up. These kids had me rolling, and I was like, whose kids are these? Like I just said it out loud because I'm tacky. And then like this lady was like, those are my kids. And I was like, they are so funny. And then I met her and we ended up like mirroring each other. Like I was like how she was when she was younger, and she's how I would like to be when I'm older. And she got married when she was way older, which I love that. She found her real partner. She adopted two kids, brothers from Ethiopia, and now they just travel all the time in the most bougie fucking way. She was like, "Yeah, you see that hotel?" She's like, "We're at the top with our own fucking like rooftop pool, like five-star
Who is
kind of
this
shit."
woman? Can I
I
follow
know.
her on
I
Instagram?
know.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
she's actually a health coach. She was such a badass, and I love that. I was like, you know what? I haven't really thought of like I don't think of kids often. I don't think about marriage often, but how she was living her life, I was like, that's cool because she's doing it differently. She's like
Yeah.
like showing her kids the world in the best possible way, and just like she found her person. And I love that. I love that. That's like the next thing you're like looking at is just like, how can I share this joy? You know?
Oh, I'm obsessed with that. Yeah. Wow. Love it.
Well, let's talk about like how people are can find you, because let's say like there's someone out there who's like yeah, just working their ass off in a restaurant. They're tired of that shit. Or maybe they love their work, but they're like, I don't want to do it for this company. Or maybe they're like, I fucking hate my job and I want to travel and I want to be in fucking Greece. Like, how
Mhm.
can they go to the next steps and just learn more about you?
Well, my Instagram, Christa Bella Travels, has 3 pinned posts at the top, which goes through my story of how I became what I am today. It also talks about my program and what it's like to work with me. So those are the 3 pinned posts. I would say start there. You can go to digitalnomadlifeacademy.com to check out the details of my program. And there's a lot of other stuff. My podcast, the Digital Nomad Life Podcast. So pick your poison or just DM me and we can chat about it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And do you have like a regular link so people can like watch your masterclass or join a masterclass? Because that's how I met you.
Yeah. So digitalnomadlifeacademy.com/masterclass is where I will be hosting my like famous training, basically. This training has been kind of like the pinnacle of my business for the past 3.5 years. It's like my gift to the world. And after watching it, some people want to work with me, other people have everything they need. It's like genuinely a really quality training. So I would recommend watching that.
Yes. Yes. And I
Yeah.
can like wholeheartedly say like you genuinely have changed my life. Like I feel like you probably hear that a lot, honest to God, but I can absolutely say that. There's a lot of like coaches out there. There's a lot of different people out there, but I feel like with you, what struck me was that you were all about the inner work and the shadow work. And it wasn't just like, I'm going to teach you how to build a business. Here's how you just find an online job and good luck. It was like, no. Like you have some cobwebs that you need to unwind before you start any journey. And I went to your program being like, I don't think being wealthy is cute. It's vain, or I don't know about this. I don't know if I could believe myself. And then now I'm like, I want to be wealthy and I deserve that. And I also like created this lifestyle that like I was making zero money online. And now I'm like, oh, I think I can jump tax brackets now. And I don't have to work in restaurants either. So
Ooh,
let that be a
yes.
fucking testimonial. Like if you're like a listener, you've probably heard my journey from the beginning. Like I used to talk to people all the time that were digital nomads. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing this? And then there's been a quick transition of now I'm traveling and it's literally because of your program. So just thank you so much in general. I really think you come into people's lives when they really need it. And hopefully you stumble upon this podcast. And I think if you want to learn more, definitely Digital Nomad Life podcast. If you just want to like jump right into there, you can hear so much more about you. So
That was so beautiful, so touching. I'm so touched. Thank you.
yeah.
This was amazing. I can't wait to share this episode with everybody.
Yeah, so this was really cool to interview her and just kind of come full circle with me now as a full-time traveler with my own business where I am a full-time podcast producer for other shows and just able to hear her insane travel stories. But if you yourself have felt inspired by her and if you do want to start taking steps to change your life, I will say with her program, you have to be ready to work hard. First of all, you also need to be ready to be okay with facing some parts of yourself you may have hidden or you don't want to address because her program's really, really about growth. And what I really like about her program also is that if you don't even know what you want to do or you feel like you don't have any skills that could apply with being online, you're wrong. She's like a magician finding out what your actual passion should be and how you can make good money from it. So if you are interested in that and you're ready to travel or just have more freedom in your life and not have to work at a job you don't like, I'd say if you're interested to learn more about her, there is the Digital Nomad Life podcast, which I actually personally produce. And you can just hear so much more about, what the lifestyle is like and how do you go from where you're at now to becoming a digital nomad. You can also follow her at Christa Bella Travels. And then I actually do recommend following that account because she has these once a month masterclasses where they're like a free 2-hour masterclass where she really goes into detail about how to find your passion that you should be doing online and how, what kind of emotional blocks you might be having from keeping you from having the life that you actually should be living. That's how I just got started. I listened to her masterclass and was completely sold. And then if you actually are just interested in just starting her program in general, I also left a link below with that and you can jump on a call with her and learn more. But, this lifestyle's not for everyone. I think it's for people who are ready to really get in touch with themselves, put some work in, start their own business, have complete freedom. And it's a really, really beautiful life, I will have to say. And yeah, thank you all for listening so much. Share the podcast with anyone you love or you think will love it. And cheers till next time, y'all.